Welcome back to Baddest Chaplain. Hoping all is well with you and yours. Today, I am joined by the visionary behind Financial Fancy. Sharice Chambers herself is here with us. Sharice, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Nah, I'm so glad you're here and just thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Of course. So I want us to go back to the foundation. Talk to us a bit about your journey in bookkeeping and
Mhm.
tax prepping. Essential but also scary things. And how did you? People are terrified of these things. They
Why
feel
it gotta be scary? You know what?
scared.
It's cognitive dissonance. I need everyone to say that cognitive dissonance. It's crazy to me
Yeah.
how so many people lean on that it's scary, but they want to make money. So
Right.
how do you reconcile that with yourself that you're scared to do the thing that you need to do to make the money, the due
Yeah.
diligence, the work part, but
Right.
you love the money part? Like you gotta have to come to
That's
some
it.
middle ground with yourself with that.
That's
But
it.
I am an accidental entrepreneur. Let's start
Come
there.
on. Yeah. Yeah. Here for
I
it. Here
love
for
I
it.
love me a 9 to 5. And I'm also a geriatric millennial, so I was working a job that
Uh huh.
matched my hold a second,
All
my
good.
plug that powers my thing got unplugged.
Oh,
Well, we love to do that in the middle of a live broadcast, but at
here we
least it
go.
warned me and just didn't
They just
shut
cut us
down.
off. Exactly. That's happened to me
Right,
before. It's scary. It's scary.
right. Make sure everything's plugged in.
All good.
Oh, come on. Are you not plugged in? Did I? Okay. All is well. Okay.
Here we are.
So I am an accidental entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I was working a very fluffy job that
Mm.
paid matched my 401k
Mm.
and paid very well.
Come
Okay.
on.
But I went to school for accounting.
Uh.
I loved accounting and I took a part-time job at a tax firm and
Mm.
worked there for many years. And then I started snooping around,
Mm-hmm.
started reading the fine print, and they
Yeah.
offered what we call a rapid refund. That's what they
Okay.
called it. Well, after you start reading some language, it's nothing but a payday loan. And then
Ooh.
so I started looking at the itemization of the client's invoices and was
Yeah.
realizing that they were charging them the fee to prepare the taxes
Yeah.
and then charging them for the expedited service of said taxes, and then whatever the
Oh.
fees like payday loans do for how much they borrowed from
Yeah.
however much the refund was going to be. So someone who was supposed to get $5,000, it could easily be 1,700,
Whoa.
2,000.
Whoa.
But when you are at a financial deficit,
No
you're
doubt.
behind on your rent,
Right.
you got babies to feed,
Come on.
whatever the case may be, you behind on your car payment, you want the
Right.
money as fast as possible.
No
And
question.
the because you're at a deficit, you are willing to do whatever you feel like is necessary. Although we know
Yeah.
typically state returns take 5 to 7 business days once they're submitted. So
Yeah. It's not
it's
taking
like
that
you
long.
already late, babes. You're already late, sis. What's the next day? But
Yeah.
but you don't know the other circumstance. Like, are they about to get put out? And because
Right.
they're already in distress, they go ahead and volunteer those money. So that was like,
Mhm.
what? I think I could do the taxes and educate people. So I really started the
For
business
real.
as a posture of education.
Wonderful.
And it was a heavy lift too, because mine's listen, I can't combat what you think about yourself or what situation you believe that you're in. And
For
even now,
real.
it is a uphill battle trying to get people to realize their potential,
Mhm.
to give them my hope, give them
Come on.
my belief system.
Right.
I'm selling hope out here. Like, you can do it. I promise you can. I'm gonna hold your hand while you do it. So
Yeah.
I became an accidental entrepreneur, and here we are 20 years later.
There it is. Now I'm glad you did it because you're really speaking to real life circumstances. Like it's nothing like trying to figure out how you're going to deposit the check, but you got overdraft fees that's going to eat up most of the check, and they already wanted their money yesterday. Like all of that compound stress, I can understand why people may look at it like that's a poor financial decision to use a rapid refund. But
Mhm.
when you're under that much duress, you're just
Right.
trying to survive, and I'm
Right.
glad that you're stepping in the gap for that. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Financial Fancy
Mhm.
was birthed 2005.
Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, because 20 years. Okay.
Yeah, right.
But
You're right.
yeah, so but I didn't get an LLC. So I was a solopreneur because I was
Come
only doing
on.
part-time. I
Yeah,
legit
yeah.
worked a job. I love
Right.
working a job. That 2 week every 2 weeks getting a baby. Sign me up. Okay. And taxes is only seasonal.
Right.
So let's be realistic. But then I fell in love with business owners. And
Hmm.
what I was finding is I became the shoebox lady. Oh,
Yeah.
give Sharice your bank statements and your receipts. She'll figure it out. She'll make it work for you. And then I was
Yes.
like, you know what? Again, that teacher part of me was
Yeah.
like, if you have not been looking at your numbers all year, I
Right.
know that you haven't pivot when you needed to. You hadn't increased your prices. You haven't
Right.
looked at your numbers, and you don't know what they're saying, what your business is actually doing in real time. And
Yeah.
I was dealing with a lot of entrepreneurs who were making fast money.
Of
So it
course.
feels like you're making a lot of money. So like
Yeah.
barbers, hairdressers,
Right.
mechanics,
Like,
what is it? You fixing somebody catalytic converter at your house, you charge them 2,000. When you get $2,000 when you work a 9 to 5 and you're only getting $1,200
Right.
before taxes, you're
Right.
like, oh, I'm making money. But then
Yeah.
you haven't conceptualized the business side of your mind.
No,
Like
no, no,
you
no.
ain't pay taxes on that.
Right.
You haven't taken other expense. And also you actually didn't make 2,000. You had to buy that part that cost you
Right.
5. So really, let's start with 1,500, and then you spent your time 2 hours of your time underneath that car. So we need to
Yeah.
quantify how much your hourly rate is,
Yes.
and then we start thinking like that. When you start getting that business
Come
mindset,
on. Come on. Come on.
then they're like, oh, I actually didn't make any
No,
money,
I
or I
didn't.
broke even.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because again, you're getting that money up front, it feels like you're making a lot of money.
Totally.
But when I help people kind of conceptualize that business side of their mindset, they're like,
Mhm.
oh, not only did I just make enough money, I actually
Mhm.
need to charge more.
Yeah. This ain't it.
Because service-based businesses, they get exhausted. Like
Oh,
I'm only going to make money if I'm doing, again, those
right.
hairdressers. I only make money if I'm behind a chair to
Yeah.
cut someone's hair. Like, and then now we have to conceptualize, what does sustainability look like?
That's real. That's real talk. Because I think that's something too. It's like there's business ownership that's still like every business in order to get off the ground requires a certain level of sweat equity. But a job like the ones that you're describing, if I'm not physically doing something,
Mhm.
I'm not making money. That is
Yeah.
another level of fatigue for sure.
So even in my own thought process, because I am formally educated, right? So I went to school. I'm
Yeah,
not an
yeah.
entrepreneur by trade. I'm an entrepreneur by
Right.
happenstance, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
I knew the functionality of business. I didn't know the sweat equity of business. So even
Right.
even myself was like, if I don't make money.
Yeah.
And also as a worker, a 9 to 5er, that's also what we're trained when we get a job too. Like if you don't work, you don't get paid. So
Yeah.
that mindset already was rhetoric in my head. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm having
Mm-hmm.
to figure out, okay, if taxes is only seasonal,
Mm-hmm.
what would I have to do in a business
Yeah.
to make it year round? So then I started offering bookkeeping.
Yeah.
But then I had the burden to make people understand my value, because they're
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I've been just giving you my receipts at the end of the year. What's the problem? And that's where the educational piece was like, well, after I looked over your books and you now owe $15,000 to the government because you haven't been paying taxes, let's
Yeah.
have another conversation around estimated taxes. And what does
Yeah.
that look like? And how often do you have to pay that?
Yeah.
And because you're making so much money, let's also have a more strategy conversation around now maybe putting yourself on payroll if that makes sense with the money you make. So now
Mhm.
you lower your taxable. So now this is the more information, right? Because you can only YouTube university yourself to death. You can't implement something if you don't understand the why behind it. Like
For
you
sure.
understand, people come to me all the time. I have at least 2 clients that send me stuff all the time, but like, so I saw this. What do you think? And I'm like, you know what? We could put your kid on payroll, but we don't even have you on payroll yet. So let's put elephant on the shelf. Let's do. There's steps to
Let's do
this.
step one before we do step three.
Yeah, let's
Right,
do.
right.
Let's crawl before we walk, okay?
Come
And
on.
I'm not I'm not the bookkeeper. Like, we can't do that. I'm saying,
Yeah.
yes, that is legit. This is what the IRS says
For
about
sure.
this.
For sure.
But you're not in a season to implement this strategy yet.
Mhm.
Let's also go back to what our current goals are and make sure that we kick that out the park first
Yeah.
before we move forward with the next thing.
Love that. Love that. So, how do you tailor your offerings differently for startups versus more established entrepreneurs and even nonprofits? Some of your clients are nonprofits as well.
Yeah. I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you implement the goals that you have. So you have to have a North Star.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you explain to me what that North Star is, that is the catalyst of how I curate the conversation. So if you came to me and you're like, I'm a startup, Sharice, and I just want to make sure my systems are in place. So we're creating SOPs around maybe you doing your own bookkeeping,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm doing coaching for you, or you hiring me. And if you know that as soon as you start, you're just going to need someone to take that on.
Yeah.
And then doing tax prep, right? So we also project. We also, as I believe most entrepreneurs are visionaries because they have to see a bigger picture.
Yeah.
But what I find is they struggle with the
Day-to-day.
nuances,
Yeah.
yes, of the executing the vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get clear about what the goals are, so then we can get granular around what the KPIs are. So if you're trying to make $10,000 every month and you wrote a book, then you sell it for $10, then we know we need to sell 1,000, and then we can get even granular about that. Out of 1,000, how many do we need to sell each week? That's 2,500 books every week. Right now we can go, how many books do I need to sell each day? So now past the receipts, right? When I go back and look at your reports and I see we only sold 1,000 books, then I already know we're behind day 4 in August. And the question is, what's not hitting for people? Maybe it might be your messaging. Maybe the way you're communicating with people. Maybe when you post it on your stories, you're telling people to click your link in your bio when you really should be putting the link in the story, right? So now we have more comprehensive conversations. And so I'm not just talking about making money. Like, I'm not the woman who just makes you money. I'm the person who helps you curate the story around what your numbers are telling you. And that's analytics and number wise, because those things go together.
For sure. Sure. I love that. For sure. What would you say are the most frequent pitfalls that you see businesses encounter? And how do you help them pivot strategically? Because, I opened up by joking about the fear around it, but I do think that sort of like financial illiteracy creates a lot of that anxiety and fear that we have. So what are some of those pitfalls that you've seen, and how
just what you said, the fear of actually having to accept that you don't know, right? I tell people all the time, you have to build in grace into your business. I have a client, he's a new entrepreneur, and he was like, I just want to get your opinion on this because I want to make the right decision. I said, first of all, let's pause. Any decision that you make is not incorrect. Fail fast, pivot quicker. Fail fast, pivot quicker.
Come on.
So his idea was, corporate contracts have become a big conversation in procurement work because they offer more money.
Right.
Go do FEMA work in Texas where they were having a disaster relief. Or for more money, or cultivate a relationship here locally to start the business. That pays a little bit less.
Right.
But is it really less? Because after that FEMA contract's over with, you're going to come back to nothing. And we don't know what the expenses it will cost and what deliverables FEMA's willing to give to you to be in this project. Are you going to have to pay room and board out of pocket? You have to bring all your supplies down there to help them. Things that you hadn't even thought. Okay, that goes back to that making $2,000 doing that catalog converter. You got the $2,000 up front. Like, getting $50,000 for a contract sounds great until you realize that you're going to be down there for a month and you got to pay for food, room and board, gas.
Come on.
You might need additional staff members. And now you lost $10,000.
Right.
When you could have made, $1,500 less staying local. See, and that's why I try to encourage people, like, let's have I'm a logical thinker. So 1 + 1 got to always equal 2. Not only because I'm the numbers lady, but also because that's how my brain works. So I'm just like, when I say it out loud, and I guess maybe I'm saying the thing out loud that they're afraid to say, and when I say it, they're like, you making sense. And I was like, yes, I'm glad you see it my way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
the highest thing is just empowering entrepreneurs to say the quiet part out loud. I think that
Yeah.
they're afraid. They're like, oh, if this doesn't work, then I failed. Did
Mm-hmm.
you?
Come on.
Did you? I
Right.
mean, I've done a lot of things that just the false starts,
Mm-hmm.
didn't start,
Mm-hmm.
did it, and it didn't go the way I thought I always go, or I did it and then it blew up to something even bigger than I knew that it would go
Of
was going
course.
to be. Right? Yeah.
Of
So
course.
yeah. So do it. People are afraid of being perceived. Even me.
Yes. No, that's so real.
That's probably the biggest thing I'm working through now through therapy is
Mm-hmm.
what does it look like for people to know who Financial Fancy is and me
Yeah.
by my and me as myself,
Yeah.
because then you're up for it feels like you're up for public consumption, especially on social
Oh
media.
gosh, yes.
People always got an opinion, so it's
Totally.
like, I mean, if Tabitha Brown get talked about, baby, I don't who am I?
Just want to say,
Who am I? Right?
ain't
So
nobody safe.
right. So and even now,
Yeah.
I went to Woman Evolve last year.
Okay.
I couldn't go this year, but I
Yeah.
want to. But I've seen a lot more good stuff.
Good.
But of course, there's always one or two people of different,
It's funny that's what you bring up because I was like, why are people attacking this? Like I just saw it kind of like casually on the algorithm, and I was just like, I don't understand
yeah,
the anger or just like the like
yeah,
selective outrage about it. But to your point, you know, if you're doing anything, you're going to like subject yourself to some level of
right,
scrutiny, and that's just a part of it.
right, yeah,
That's just
yeah,
a part of it.
and also the other part is, um, entrepreneurs are guilty of this too,
Mhm.
where we've been entrepreneurs for so long that we start airing our grievances around
Mhm.
client
Right.
relationships, right?
Right.
And I'm like, that no, don't do that. Don't do
Mm-mm.
that. Be on threads. I'm like, I get it. Your client made you upset. Okay, I get it.
But a lot of
Also, consumers saying, I mean, it goes on
yeah,
both sides, and I just like, let's keep it cute,
you
y'all.
have
Come on.
to.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. I think a lot of people need a diary. I think there's a lot of things that we put on social media collectively. I'm like, that should have went in your diary, or that should have gone. That should have been you and your therapist, or
Right.
take it to the Lord. Just
Right.
don't put it online.
You know what? I'm writing a podcast now
Uh huh.
and a chapter in my book where it
Great.
says you're right. Everybody's right. And you know why everyone's right is because we have to there's duality in life. I used to be a black and white kind of girly, like either
Okay.
it is or very type A. Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're like, I want to lose weight, and then you keep complaining about not losing the weight because you're not eating right, baby, I'm gonna be like, you not doing what you supposed. I'm
Come
like, oh
through
my gosh, you're so mean.
all the judgment.
Right now, as a seasoned woman
Come on.
in my 42 years that
Come
needs
on.
grace
Yes.
because my cortisone's high. That's why my face is puffy.
I hear you.
I'm perimenopausal, so I'm
Yeah.
always at a warm temperature
Sure.
with
Sure.
my body.
Got
And
you.
now I need grace and being
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna be as small as I was in my 20s or in my
Yeah.
30s.
So it's not what
I
it
mean,
is.
so coming to a place of the grace and also
Mhm.
just and accepting where I am, and then
Yeah.
but still showing up. Like I still walk on my
Absolutely.
walking path 20 minutes. I go to the gym now, blah,
Mhm.
do them things. Um, I ask people to lead with that same grace in their own business,
Yeah.
and how they show up, and to remember that sometimes you're standing in the midst of what you prayed for.
Ooh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes when it comes someone's like, I can tell somebody who ain't been nowhere when they taking videos at Ruth Chris and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But people who go there all the time, they're not taking, like I
Yeah.
get it, like it's a regular experience to them. But
Sure.
that also could be say about our relationships as well. When it becomes normal,
Mhm.
then it's not a big deal. But I just got here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Cause,
got here.
Cause what you're
I
saying
mean,
reminds me of like everything I've seen online about like the whole like Martha's Vineyard conversation, and they're like, oh, it just seems like they're not necessarily calling it new money, but it's just a time mode conversation, which is like, oh, you just got here, you're kind of messing it up. If one person said like it feels too much like Atlanta now, which I was like, wow, dog whistle, but but it's just a sense of I really believe that if you have gratitude every morning when you see a sunrise can move you.
yeah,
Like you don't want to take a sunrise for granted. You don't want to take a
right.
sunset for granted. You don't want
Yeah.
to take these things that don't have to be routine. You
Mhm.
know, like going to Ruth Chris, however often you go into it, you know, you could come on some sort of like, God forbid, calamity that doesn't
Mhm.
allow you to go. Or it's
Right,
been a long time since you've been able to
right,
go. And now you're back and you're like,
right,
I never thought I'd get back
right,
here. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We gotta stay humbled.
Have to. Have to. So talk to me about navigating these social media waters, because I think you're doing a fabulous job with it. How does that persona that you have online, being the business bestie, the fractional CFO, how does it reflect your consulting approach? Like, how is that sort of like a slice of who you are with clients?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, the I just did my first mastermind that was sold out,
Hmm.
and we're gonna do
Good
one
stuff.
Q4. I'm figuring out a location,
Hmm.
but really, my thought process is not to speak at people. I had a mentor so many years ago, and she said, "People understand you on their level of comprehension."
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, okay. My frontal lobe started developing, but I didn't know many years later what that really would look like.
Come on,
And that
right?
the manifestation of what that looks like is when I talk to a client, I don't pull out my business handbook, I pull
Yeah,
out my people handbook.
right.
So, yes, I need you to understand the language of business, like what accounts receivables are,
Hmm.
but I want to tell you what it is and then ask you follow-up questions. I lead with more curiosity and make sure that the person understands what I'm trying to say to them. So sometimes I've helped two clients prep for Shark Tank,
Awesome.
and and very much like they come in there spit firing their questions to
Right.
them. It's the preparation of, because they're asking you questions like, what's your landing cost? Well, you might not have never heard this
That
language before,
term.
right?
Right.
So again, in my coaching, helping to make sure that you understand what rooms you're going in so
Yeah.
that you can keep up with the conversation and the people in the room that you're in. Because as much as we say we want to be in the rooms with the people that we aspire to be like,
Sure.
you also need to have a level of comprehension too in those rooms, because they're talking different than you.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're someone who just makes a couple $1,000s every month and these people make millions,
Yeah. It's not the
like
same.
Myron, Mr. Myron, I follow him. He's a
Okay.
black man. He goes by biblical principles. He's an entrepreneur. I mean, like, I think
Oh,
people pay him.
Myron Golden.
Yes.
Yeah, that brother's brilliant, man.
If
Yeah.
I ever was in a room with him, I wouldn't even talk.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Because
real. Yeah.
I'm not, I'm just listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He is brilliant, right?
Yeah.
But you want to be prepared for those spaces.
Uh huh.
So, and actually, I've had the esteem pleasure to be in rooms with millionaires this year like never before, because
Hmm.
I've put myself in those rooms and I just soak it all in,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's been delightful. But yeah, you want to be prepared. So I want to prepare people for the rooms that they desire to be
Hmm.
in.
I hear that. I hear that. Yeah. Just they often will tell people early in their career, like, don't dress for the place you're in now. Dress for the place you're going. That sort of
Yes.
logic. How do you emphasize you place such an emphasis on clients building back end systems and having financial clarity. What specific tools or routines do you recommend that they implement first? Like, you're giving them the jargon. What tools should they have first?
Yeah, so it's funny enough, today on my Money Making Monday tip,
Uh huh.
when I went live on Instagram, I was talking about taking control of your calendar. So I take the whole month of August off for my birthday,
Great.
and I still make money.
August, respect
And I still make money.
it.
I made, if we're being honest, I made $2,500 today. Okay.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
But it's because I have systems in the back end.
Right.
So a scheduling calendar that's connected to my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So people can schedule themselves and I can still collect the money. I
Yeah.
don't need to send nothing extra. Two, having automations that onboard people. So if you went on my website, you would get a questionnaire. The questionnaire will quantify if you're a good fit. If you're not a good fit, then we would send you alternatives or
Mm-hmm.
another suggestion. If you're a fit, then it will send you the link to
Mm-hmm.
schedule yourself for your initial consultation, and
Mm-hmm.
then you'll get to have a conversation with me, and then we go into other conversations of expectations and deliverables around
Mm-hmm.
what your questions were. So the automation part of it all, or you could have a physical person. So I have a
Mm-hmm.
team of 5. I have an OBM, which is an office business manager,
Mm-hmm.
or an elevated virtual assistant
Mm-hmm.
who lives in the States. I feel some kind of way about people hiring. I mean, Spend what's within your budget. But if we're going to talk about, I always have this conversation with people. I'm like, when we talk about uh social economics and like making a difference, especially as a
Yeah.
black woman,
Come on.
it seems counterproductive for me to say I care about livable wages
Right.
and all this, and then hire somebody overseas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a side note. Okay, we're just
Right.
gonna take
But
that
it's
away.
moral
Okay.
consistency. I
Right?
hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. It's consistent with my branding, right? So, virtual assistant lives in Virginia. I
Yeah.
have a podcast manager.
Uh-huh.
I have some other people who do bits and pieces.
Awesome.
Of like voiceovers,
Mhm.
commercials and things of that nature. And then I have a content manager,
Yeah.
lives here in Richmond because she's got to go with me, and she's
Great.
gone with me to do events as well. So all the upgrading of what you're seeing now is
Yeah.
her vision of her taking
Wonderful.
videography of me, because it was hard trying to set up a tripod and walk around the room. Yeah, I had to.
It's a you need a
Yeah,
team. With what you're doing,
right.
you absolutely need a team.
Yeah. So, and because of her, I mean, that has been the steady feedback. We've been together for a little over a year now,
Mhm.
and that has been the steady feedback. And I was like, yeah, she's worth every dime.
Awesome. 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 So how do you integrate QuickBooks into your coaching? And is that something where you offer group training sessions or company setups?
Yeah, so actually most of my corporate contracts are teaching. So
Mhm.
actually this month on the 25th,
Okay.
I'm partnering up with the SBSD, which is a small business
Mm.
supplier division. I'm in Chesterfield. We're going to be at the Chesterfield Library, and I'm going
Mhm.
to be teaching people how to work with their QuickBooks. And I've done different classes with them, like how to read your profit and loss sheets or what reports you need to prepare for funding and things of that nature.
Mhm.
I'm also doing another class with the second half of a course with Bon Secours. We're
Mhm.
not specifically highlighting QuickBooks, but we will
Mhm.
be talking about bookkeeping software, because I'm not a one trick pony, although I like QuickBooks.
Yeah.
I also use FreshBooks,
Okay.
Wave, for other people. So if you're a beginning entrepreneur, I would suggest Wave. It's easier to
All
use.
right.
All and QuickBooks has now turned into AI. They've integrated AI,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
now it's another learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Learn, what to integrate and things of that nature. But and then I have coaching clients who use QuickBooks or
Mhm.
Wave or any software,
Mhm.
and I help them understand their functions. I
Mhm.
help them customize their chart of accounts, because all chart of accounts, no matter if it's QuickBooks or Wave or whatever, it has a default chart of accounts. But if
Yeah.
you're like an artist, then we would need to add some chart of accounts are the categories that you um, label expenses and revenue.
Okay.
So the other part is, again, trying to tell the story. So instead of dumping all of your sales into sales, you
Mhm.
might want to make a line for, let's use you for example, podcast revenue,
Mhm.
speaking engagements, right? So
Mhm.
now when you look at your revenue, you can see what's making money for you instead of everything dumped collectively in the same space, right? And
Right.
then on the
Right.
opposite side, um, you might want to have an expense line for when you travel outside the state of Virginia, so that you
Mhm.
can keep up with how much money am I spending more money when I go out of town, or am I
Right.
spending more money in? So again, making sure, again, I'm always trying to curate the chart of accounts so that it's telling you a story when you pull those reports every month. So
Mhm.
we will make sure, like, you're like, oh, I need to charge more when I go out of town,
Come on.
because I'm always breaking even now when you start looking at your numbers,
Right.
or you're like, you know what, I actually make more money when I go out of town than when I stay in town, because I don't they do so much accommodating. Because I
Right.
notice when I go out of town, they're like, oh, we'll pay. I've had one person,
Mm.
they paid for me to be there.
Right.
They gave me a gift card on my Uber app
Okay.
to go
To
around.
get back
Because
and
first
forth.
they were trying to get me to rent a car, and I said, "Baby, no one's driving around in Texas. I don't know where I'm going. I need an Uber. I'm an Uber." So they
Yeah.
gave me a voucher for Uber. And then they gave me another voucher for my food
Oh wow.
outside of the conference. They
Yeah.
fed
Yeah.
everybody at the
Of
conference.
course. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so it ended up working out, even
Yeah.
though they paid me less, because, and
Mhm.
they also let me get a table to
Yeah.
vend.
Oh, so
So
the
because of
bringing in clients
accommodation,
that
right?
way.
So when you start thinking about all that, some people, they don't even conceive that thought
Mm-mm.
process. They're just like, oh, they just get paid and they
Mm.
don't know how to negotiate. So I've even
No.
had clients negotiate, help
Hmm.
we role play and negotiate, in conversations of them negotiating their ask.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense because yeah, I think these are so many soft skills that you're giving folks alongside the technical skills because
Yep.
so much of that where a person may not know their worth or just like how much their worth has increased in the market because of the
Right.
demand that they're just like, well, I mean, they got me there, but now I'm hungry. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because especially when you're a new entrepreneur, you're so excited that someone even sees you.
totally.
I mean, I've done ask me how many free things I did when I first
Oh, excited. Hey, they want me to speak.
right. Who's told me?
How they
But
find me?
and now the opposite end of that is when you've been in the game for so long and you're
Yeah.
asking your worth, and they know that they could get someone for free, but they know that I have to. Someone said you should always think highly of yourself. I know that
Absolutely.
even if I give them my ask and they say
Mhm,
no, that they're
mhm.
not gonna get the whole reason why. I've had someone be like, I give them my price and they're like, oh, we'll have to look into that, and they come back around because baby, you already know
Yeah.
that you saw me. That's why you came over here.
Yes. Yes. And the
Don't
work
be
speaks
acting
for
crazy.
itself. The work speaks for itself. Like you have to pay for quality. We can't
Yes.
be out here trying to, lowball.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
Um, so you've won awards like Lynchburg Business Mentor, Coach of the Year, other recognition. How does the external validation shape your trajectory? Like how do you deal with that? Because it can be a lot sometimes, and sometimes it can be just something that distracts. But how do you deal with it?
It's funny enough. I posted everything you're saying. I posted when I made Business Person of the Year back in
Uh
2021,
huh.
and now hindsight, my new business coach Ashley Kirkwood,
Uh huh.
she talks about rhetorics and receipts.
Mm-hmm.
And all my receipts do is double down on my purpose and my mission,
Right.
and that
Right.
I know that
Right.
I'm on the right trajectory
Mm-hmm.
on doing said things. So the receipts and the rewards are just the physical manifestation of the work I do in private
For
and in
sure.
quiet, right? Because those awards, those were voted on by the people.
Right.
These weren't like groups of people, like a
Uh.
group
Uh.
like the awards, you know what I'm saying, like a
Mm-hmm.
hat stuff. Like people actually had a vote, so that means it's a popularity
Yeah. Contest.
vote as well,
Yeah.
right? So enough people voted and was like, no, I think, and there was a lot of people on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the lists have 10 to 12 people on it.
Come
So,
on.
and you split up a vote, it's easy for you to lose. So
Yeah.
for
Right.
me,
Right.
it's just so humbling
Uh
that
huh.
people think so highly of me and not only win those awards, but win them consecutively over and over again. And I actually end up winning an award after I moved to Richmond
Come
there
on.
again. So I was like, you know what? Job well done.
That's it.
I love that
That's
for
it.
me. I one of my missions is to be empty when I leave this earth. I don't
That's
want
a fact.
anything that God has given me to do and my purpose to be locked up in me and I hadn't released it to the world. So that's why I pay
Yeah.
the lady.
Pay the
So I
lady.
can get over being perceived because I
That's
know that
right.
it will come with criticism.
For sure.
But I don't want something that I was supposed to be doing
Yeah.
hinder somebody else in what they were supposed to be doing.
It's so real, and I love what you're just saying because it really speaks. Just yesterday was preaching about like interconnectedness and our interdependence, and there are gifts that God gives you. It's not just for yourself. Like you have to shine your light so brightly so that it inspires someone to shine
Mhm.
their light.
Right.
And because there are people who are just arrogant and just self-centered and don't care about nobody else, you who are trying to do this in a way that glorifies God will feel like, oh no, let me just kind of fall back. But you falling back, you're slowing somebody else up because they needed
Right.
to see you so they could be inspired. So you just
Right.
gotta shine bright.
Yep. I don't want to be like Saul. I just finished reading. I'm in First King now, so now
Uh
I'm at the beginning of Solomon's reign. But it's
yeah.
been the Old Testament, baby. I said, "Ooh,
It's a lot
I
going
said, I don't
on.
need to watch TV. I just need to
Nah.
read my Bible."
Yeah. Look,
Y'all crazy.
some of this stuff, like HBO, be like it's too much. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't even put it on TV. It's just too rough. It's too rough.
Listen,
But Saul's a tragic figure in that way,
he
right?
is.
Like Saul really um Beautiful man, tall man, looks like a leader, but was deeply insecure.
I don't even understand what his vendetta was with David because David loved him.
Well, I heard it's actually a pastor or a bishop rather who was guest preaching at Life Church this past Sunday was saying that when, and I had never interpreted it this way, but he was saying, when David is offered Saul's armor,
Mm-hmm.
I just was thinking that Saul was just thinking traditionally like a warrior. Oh, you're supposed to wear this. But how the bishop was interpreting it was he wanted him to wear Saul's armor so that if he beat Goliath, people would think it was Saul. And I never thought of it that way and it tracks with, at one point the crowds were singing, Saul has his thousands, David has his tens of thousands. So there was some deep jealousy and some deep sense of like, what do you mean? And then even worse, once the anointing leaves him and David's anointed king, the madness grows even further. So there was some deep, I think some real great cautionary tale work that applies to our context. But Saul was a deeply insecure leader.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Unfortunate.
It's tough break. It's just how it works out sometimes.
It is.
So as you think about your expansion, your growth as a businesswoman and as a coach, what's next for Financial Fancy?
I'm glad you asked. I'm actually physically writing a book.
Great.
To come out for Christmas.
Come on.
I had to push it out a little bit further, and it got picked up by a publisher. So this is not a self-published.
It's not coming out the trunk. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not coming out the trunk.
It's gonna be. Well, I was thinking before we started boycotting Target, baby. I said I would be on the. It's gonna be a book.
Books a Million.
Shoot, I ain't been a bookstore since Jesus was a baby because I do everything on Audible. I said, is Books a Million still open? I was like, what store? Barnes and Nobles. Amazon. So and hopefully Q1 I'll read it because again, because I podcast, I was like, it'd be great to have an audible version of the book for people to listen to as well because. Have you heard my voice? Like,
come on,
and you hear my inflections and stuff. But
talk your stuff.
So the book will come out for Black Friday.
Cool.
It's basically a tongue-in-cheek version of the podcast Business After Dark, with some implementation stuff that people will be able to download. I want people to get. I don't want to just talk at people. That's not the way I teach. I want people to grasp it and be able to walk away and be like, okay, these are my next steps, right? Yeah. So the book. And then I've been doing, so I want to retire when I'm 50. I'll be 42 on the 23rd.
Okay.
So I've been doing a lot of corporate contracts, which have in turn connected dots for some organizations that I see some blind spots.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't want to hire a contractor, but putting together some workshops that I can license out to them for them to utilize in their educational pieces for new entrepreneurs. And then obviously that in turn, hopefully that would be like, how about I just schedule a one-on-one with Sharice or, stuff like that. So letting the work do the work for me, really. So again, the idea of me, like, I don't have to be present to make money. So really leaning into that and doing more of the things that I love. So I like speaking. I like educating. I do like the bookkeeping and doing the taxes, but really finding the next me. Because again, I am getting older. So finding people who want to be in this industry and teaching them how I got here so that they could have their own business and then I can contract that work out to them. So building out the firm just a little bit more. I would like to have like 2 or 3 bookkeepers on as contractors, not actually on staff.
Sure.
And then they would be doing the work themselves.
No, I love that because I think so much of how we all got here is that we were inspired by someone, and for you to want to say, 42 by no stretch of the imagination is old. You were at the beginning of Auntie stage. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, Andy is
beginning Auntie, like rookie Auntie. You know what I'm saying?
Not rookie Auntie.
and so but to still see, younger sisters out there, whomever's out there, to see you and be like, oh, I like what she's talking about. I can do this too. That's to me like the essence of our work, particularly for our
Yes.
community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you go, listen, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, like, I am so glad that a lot of the things y'all talk about, I can't relate. Like when people are like, oh, uh, women don't like other women. I said, I can't relate. I'm the oldest
Good.
of seven, including me, seven
Come
girls.
on,
I'm
come
a
on.
girl's girl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't understand the heart posture where people are like, oh, I mean girls. Like, have I
Yeah,
experienced a mean girl? Yes. Am
for
I a
sure.
mean girl? No.
Right,
And
right,
more
right.
9 times out of 10, I think because of who I am, I draw other women who enjoy other women.
Oh,
So
no doubt.
it's not my natural experience to
Yeah.
run into mean girls. Typically,
Right.
I find other women who enjoy women. So when people have expressed concern around those kind of issues, I'm like, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
that's not my testimony. I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah,
Let's course correct, right?
absolutely.
So yeah, I want to teach everybody, when you lift, as you climb, you lift. That's
Have
always
to.
been my grandfather, like, always.
Have to.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. So let me hit you with a quick lightning round. What
Right.
is one tool, can be software or resource, that you can't run your business without?
Chat GPT. And not because the reason why y'all think, because I was telling so I have an academy called the Unesthetic Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I said the reason why most people don't get the output that they desire
Right.
or the end result is because your input is incorrect.
That's true.
So I gave them 3 prompts, and I'll
Yeah.
give y'all the cheat code because maybe you need to be in the Unesthetic Entrepreneur Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One, so I was talking specifically about funding and grants. I send
Yeah.
out a grant list for free to my email list every month,
Great.
and it has over 100 grants on it. So nonprofits and for profits. And I said the first question is, the first thing I told them to do is go through the grant list that you have and see what the commonality of the ask is first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes what I find is entrepreneurs put themselves too much in a niche box.
Yeah.
So when they apply for a grant, they don't align with the mission, because we have to
Mm-hmm.
remember this is philanthropy dollars.
Right.
So you
Right.
need to align with the mission,
Yes.
for profit or nonprofit,
Right.
and not put yourself. If you sell, my example was, I have a client who sells skincare. So she
Mm-hmm.
sells lotions for people who have eczema and shower steamers for people who have allergies, and then just like cuticle oils and stuff for self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, instead of saying you're uh, the overarching thought process is that she's a skincare line
Yeah.
that helps people um, align with that, who find it important for natural ingredients to be in their products, because a lot of big box stores
Yeah.
have ingredients that don't align or help with the solution that they're trying to do. So now
Mm-hmm.
that she's a skincare line, now
Yeah.
we can look through sustainability grants,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just thinking beauty,
Right.
skincare,
Right.
sustainability because she has natural products,
Mm-hmm.
the beauty industry,
Mm-hmm.
and skincare, and even a social stance too, because she's addressing an issue with people on a bigger scale. It's like moms who have children with eczema,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth.
Right.
So the thought process is now she can apply for a bigger grant. So the first question is the commonality. The second one is, when you ask ChatGPT to make your business plan, you need to also input those grants that you're looking for, and also say, hey, what questions should I be considering for my business plan to be able to align with more funding
Yeah.
for my business with these 3 questions that I always see in these grant
Lovely.
applications.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you then ChatGPT asks you the questions, you answer said questions, and then from the information you say, now that we've kind of made an outline of what I want to be put in the business plan, please input this information along with this mission statement,
Yeah.
so that I can and also create language to increase my chances to get grant funding.
Yeah.
And then it gives you output. Now that's not the end. Now you review it and then put it in your own language, because sometimes the more you talk to ChatGPT and the more questions you give it, it starts
Mm-hmm.
sounding like you. I think a lot of people don't lead with
Yeah.
asking ChatGPT questions. It's actually asking them the question when you should be asking the questions that you want the output to be, and then
Yeah.
lead with said answers to said questions to come with an output of your thing.
That makes sense. That makes a ton
Yeah.
of sense. For sure. For sure.
I know that was a long explanation, but I want people to like, you need to be using your chat GPT with a little bit more care
No,
with
I
what
hear
you're
it.
asking it.
Sometimes the lightning round comes with some thunder, and this was just thunder. That's all it was.
Yes, you know.
What's the best financial advice you've ever received?
Keep your play money away from your from your bill money.
Yeah. That's a
My mom
word.
used to play the lottery
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was younger,
Uh-huh.
and this is the only lesson she gave me. She
Yeah.
had a little coin pocket purse, and she
Yeah.
had money up front and money in the back.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Mommy, why you always when we come play your numbers, you always take the money from the back?" She was like, "Cause this is bill money and this play money. Them bills
Yeah.
always go get paid.
Right,
I
right.
might not always have money to play them numbers. Them
Right. The
bills,
bills though?
them bills go get paid."
I love it. Love it. Love it. That's she gave you some game for real. She gave you some game for real. What's a go-to mantra or phrase you tell clients when the numbers overwhelm them?
Ooh, have I ever told? You get to choose. What are you choosing right now? Right?
Mm-hmm.
They might not be where you want them to be, but
Mm-hmm.
listen, I typically give people examples. Even myself, I said, can I start? Have you started over multiple times? And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm 42. I'm still young, but I've lived a little bit of life. Okay, I'd have been
For sure.
married, divorced. I'd have moved
Yeah.
from California to Hawaii to Virginia to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I done lived a little bit of life. Okay,
Got you.
bought a
Got you.
house,
Got
sold a
you.
house.
Come on.
And in every increments of those different stages, I had to start over to some extent.
Come on.
Do I like starting over? Absolutely not.
Right.
But can I? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have the tools to start from scratch again.
Yeah. That's it. That's a
Yeah.
good word. That's a real good word. I want to thank you so much for your time. This has been so dope, and I just really appreciate and admire the work you're doing, and just want to tell you keep going. Cannot wait for the book to come out on Black Friday. I
Yes.
will support it at my local independent bookstore or listen to it through Libro FM because that's what we're about on this side. But y'all, as always, if you're watching, thank you, and if you're listening, please make sure that you give us 5 stars. Let people know out there that we're doing a good job. You can subscribe to this by going to baddestchaplain.com, but you also can watch us on YouTube. Now you can watch us on Twitch. I figured out how to do that. So Gen Z and Gen Alpha, look out in the middle of playing Roblox or Fortnite. Watch something really educational. And we're on LinkedIn. That's pretty cool too. And Facebook. So as always, thank y'all so much for watching, rocking with the Baddest Chaplain. And until next time, be safe and be well. Talk to you very soon.